Hi, I'm Zoe, and I am currently doing an MBA at Oxford. I'm actually here on the 1+1, so last year I did a Master's of Public Policy, and now I'm on the MBA at Saïd. The thing that drew me to the MBA was actually the 1+1 program. I think it's a really unique program among business schools. So the way that it works is that you do a 2-year degree, but both are 1-year masters. So you do a 1-year partnering master's, and then you go on to do the MBA always in your second year. And it really appealed to me because I knew that I was at a stage in my career, but it was time to take a step back and figure out what I wanted to do next. I had done a few different jobs and I had picked up things that I really loved and threads that I wanted to continue to pull, but wanted the time to take a step back and think about how to do that and where I wanted to go. And so the 1+1 really let me do that because I knew I wanted 2 years, but I didn't want a 2-year MBA. I did an undergraduate business degree. I really enjoyed it, but it wasn't appealing to me to do another 2 years of financial fundamentals. And so the opportunity to really specialize in something else and dive deep into something else for a year and then go on to the MBA and sort of apply it in a more generalist fashion was really, really exciting. So I actually only applied to Oxford because I really wanted to do 1+1. Before Oxford, I spent most of my work life career at Deloitte. So I started in consulting and then switched to a group called the Future of Canada Centre, which focuses on developing research and policy insights focused on what can make Canada better as a country. So we looked at improving economic competitiveness and productivity. We looked at building better collaboration between the public sector, the private sector, academia. It was a really fabulous place to work and a wonderful mandate to research under. What can we do to make this country better? And it gave me the opportunity to research a real diversity of topics. I wrote about longevity in corporations. I wrote about the future of artificial intelligence in Canada. I wrote about diversity and inclusion in corporate Canada. Lots of problems that, if I'm going to use a consulting term, we looked at it sort of really high level, 30,000 feet, if you will. And so I knew I was coming to a juncture where I really wanted to take some of these great big ideas that I'd had the chance to research and sit with and talk to other people about, and think about some of the doing and thinking about pivoting and maybe solving one of these problems on the ground. And that's what I really wanted to use my 2 years to do. I think the Masters of Public Policy and the MBA are really wonderful complements to each other. When we started the Masters of Public Policy, one of our first classes was philosophy, and we spent a lot of time in the MPP thinking about what is just and what is equitable and what is good, who are the people, what does it mean to govern the people, where do you get that authority? And the MBA is quite applied. I mean, we're taking classes on accounting and finance and marketing and literally using ChatGPT to make marketing copy in classes. And both of those things are really important. And having the ability to think through both systems, both lenses, I think is really powerful. And an example I give of how I get to do that is we're currently working on a class called Global Threats and Opportunities. And we're looking at how do you change systems. We're particularly looking at farming and farming supply chains and how you can encourage farming to be more climate resilient. And I can look at it with some of the tools that the MBA has given me around supply chain, around operations, around organizational behavior, around how do you increase prices and what does that do and who ensures this. And then I can also look at it through my MPP lens and think about government and think about the role of other non-market forces, as they call them in the MBA. And I can think about veto players and boomerang effects. And it's just really exciting to be able to bring multiple lenses. I think a lot of the wicked problems we're facing out there in the world need cross-stakeholder collaboration. So it's a real pleasure to be able to at least be a small part of being conversant in a couple of worlds and bringing those worlds together. I'm really thrilled to be a Forté Fellow because the mission of the organization deeply aligns with one of my personal values, which is helping women see themselves in all spaces and at every table. And so to me, it really means lifting up the other women in the cohort, lifting up other women that want to be in the business world more generally. And especially it's something that I try to do in terms of speaking to those that are thinking of coming to do an MBA, to Oxford, to do a Master's of Public Policy. And it's one of the reasons that I wanted to do this, to say, you know, there's space for you and it's somewhere that hopefully you can imagine yourself because you're needed there. I think it's amazing because I hope that we one day all go into working worlds that also reflect the populations we come from. And so I hope those working worlds have the same number of women as are in the world, which is half. And so it just makes it such a rich learning environment in the sense that you get people from all over the world. I think it's important to say that gender is just one aspect of diversity. And so I would like to think it indicates a commitment on the part of Saïd to think about diversity more broadly. Yes, gender is something that is easier to count and it's easier to measure, and so that's a great place to start. But I hope it opens people's minds to the thought of, okay, it's really important to have people who represent a true diversity of thought in our classrooms, because that's when you're going to have the most vibrant debates. And I would like to think that achieving gender parity is a path towards achieving the richness of discussion in our classrooms. My dream is to start a company in the climate tech space. That's what I'm currently working on. I'm currently working on, with a couple of other folks, a company in the circular chemical space that I'm really excited about. So a way to lower emissions and also make our chemical feedstocks more sustainable. So I'm crossing my fingers that we're able to, I'm sort of using my time in the MBA to work on that. We even have a course actually this term called Entrepreneurship Project at Saïd, where you have to pitch a company and build a business plan. And I'm very excited to be able to use the company I'm actually working on in that course and get the inputs of my classmates and have sort of a brilliant team of MBAs working on it with me, and hoping that that might be something I can do full-time when I graduate. I knew long-term I really wanted to go into the entrepreneurship space. I've had experiences with entrepreneurship before, but never as a full-time career. And so I knew that that was my long-term vision. But coming into the MBA, I didn't know if that was going to be my immediate next step. I thought maybe I should go either work in industry for a little bit and get some hands-on experience, or absolutely could consider going back to Deloitte. I really loved it there. So, maybe I could go back to consulting and work in an industry specialization and get some experience there. And the thing I really grappled with was, okay, so when's going to be the right time? And I think I could always think of another thing that I could do first until I took the jump. But the one thing that I think has been really amazing about Oxford is that the entrepreneurial ecosystem here is really rich. And I was actually really fortunate to be in a startup pitching competition last term and win the startup pitching competition, which has been phenomenal in terms of just people reaching out and offering to help and making connections across the university. We have an entrepreneurship center that's housed at the business school. And it's just opened so many doors and opened the connections to the other folks that I'm working on this company with. So I thought, you know what? Why not try? Why not now? You've met some amazing people. I'm really excited about the potential for it. Why not take the jump? So no, it's not something I came in thinking was going to be my absolute next step. I'm passionate about climate. It's something I really want to work on. If I can find a way to do that through my career, I would really love that. And I thought this was a great opportunity to explore opportunities to do that and make that pivot. And when I thought about where in the world of climate can I make an impact, from a pure emissions perspective, farming really stood out to me because of this lack of focus on emissions. I also looked for a place where I thought my skill set would be useful in this sense of cross-sector public-private collaboration. And farming is often, and agriculture is often, a pretty contentious policy issue in addition to being a private sector issue. So I thought I could lend my hand there. And just from a personal perspective, and my grandparents had a farm, my partner's family has a farm, and I love being outdoors and watching things grow. I think that food is often one of the only connections sometimes we have to the natural world and this planet that sustains us. So I thought it was a really powerful place to spend time helping people think about the planet. What I would say is something magical about Oxford that I haven't touched on is that it's embedded in the broader university. And that was one of the things that also really drew me to the 1+1 program, because it gave me the opportunity to explore the university over 2 years instead of one, which the MBA is a really busy year. It's really condensed. And so I'm amazed at my classmates and how much they do to take advantage of this university that we're in, and I feel so spoiled that I've gotten 2 years to do it. I've gotten to row. I've never rowed before. I'm really terrible at it, but I do it with enthusiasm. I get to go to talks at amazing other schools. The Martin School here is doing wonderful research. The School of Geography is doing wonderful research. And it takes time to find those things and find those pockets of people that you really love. I had the chance to work last year in the Sustainable Development Goals Lab, which is a new initiative at Oxford that pairs students with businesses to help them work on the Sustainable Development Goals. And I actually spent my summer in Mallorca researching sustainable tourism. That was really amazing. And these are the types of things that I just don't know that I would have found, and I've had the chance to do over 2 years. Oxford is also embedded in the Creative Destruction Lab. They've got one here at the MBA. That's been one of the true highlights. I got the chance to do it last year, and I'm sitting in again this year. And it's just amazing to have the richness of this university in addition to the richness of the MBA. So I'd say if you're someone that's looking for an MBA plus, Oxford could be the place for you.